Now, one of the things that we are seeing coming from NEO is that when it comes to their battery swapping stations deployment, they have been quite slow. And I mean, if you remember very well, on Tuesday when they were doing the NEO Power Up event, NEO total battery swapping stations were sitting at 2,480, and yesterday what we saw is that at market close, NEO had total battery swapping station of 2,484 right in China, which shows you that they've been slow, but NEO told us that by February they should meet their target of deploying 1,000 battery swapping station. Now, to some investors this might be bad, whilst to others this might be good news that NEO has not been spending that much when it comes to battery swapping station deployment in this quarter and last quarter, which therefore might mean one thing. The R&D's research and development, when they report their earnings on the 5th of September for Q2, we might be surprised what or how that figure will come about or will be, because part of the reason why NEO reports maybe a 600 million loss is because of the deployment of battery swapping stations, because these swapping stations don't come cheap, and therefore it eats up a lot of money from NEO, which results into NEO having quite a huge loss each and every quarter they report their earnings. We want infrastructure, NEO to build infrastructure, correct, great, but also we want NEO to get to profitability. And to see NEO sort of like playing this out like this, I think they might be doing this maybe to boost their earnings, so that at least the loss which they report or which they are going to report both in Q2 and Q3 might be lower than what is expected, and this will revive the share price, because part of the reason why the NEO share price is this low or is trading at $4 today is because of the losses that NEO has been incurring over the quarters, which therefore some investors don't like this. They think that NEO is overspending, right? Which to a certain point or to a certain degree, to those investors, it might be fair enough for them to think like that. But on NEO side, especially after the Power Up event, you know that they are prioritizing building infrastructure first before they get to profitability, which is something that tells us or is telling us that NEO is going to still incur quite huge losses in the next coming quarters, right? Because of the deployment of battery swapping stations and chargers, or because of the deployment of their infrastructure to cater for their EV cars, right? But this quarter 2, quarter 3, the losses might not be that much, because NEO's deployment in terms of battery swapping station, it was not that much. Let's face it, this is something that we were not seeing. I mean, as I'm making this example to say that from Tuesday to Friday, NEO only deployed 4 battery swapping stations. This shows you that they've slowed down quite a lot these 2 quarters, and this might be to recover or to cut down on their losses and revive the sentiment around the NEO stock price, which I think what I'm saying, though to some others it might not make sense, but I'm telling you, on the 5th of September, you are going to see this play out on the R&Ds or on the losses of NEO coming down. This is something that is pretty exciting. I look forward to those earnings, and it is for this reason that I continue saying those earnings are going to be really interesting, because even in terms of the revenues that analysts are expecting, it is too low. I mean, the kind of revenue that analysts are expecting is even lower than the revenues that NEO reported in Q3, where we saw them reporting record-breaking quarterly deliveries. And with Q2, you'll know that the kind of sales they generated surpassed those deliveries which they reported in Q3 of 2023, and therefore it would make sense that at least they should have put their estimates around those revenues which NEO delivered or reported in Q3 of last year, but rather they even pushed it down lower, which this is where I think we are going to see some massive rewards, or at least some huge improvement in terms of the share price, because what NEO will report on the 5th of September or in 2 weeks time is going to surprise even the markets, because what the streets are expecting is not what NEO might produce on the 5th of September. So we look forward, man. This is very interesting, especially when I was just thinking about the kind of a rate or the rate at which NEO is moving at when it comes to the deployment of battery swapping stations. In a nutshell, this gave me a bit of a relief to say that in Q2 those earnings are going to be much better than what many people are expecting, especially looking at the losses that NEO is going to incur or report for Q2. So we look forward, or I look forward into those earnings. These are the earnings that I think you should really brace yourselves for, because we are going to get quite a number of surprises. I mean, there are some investors or institutions that are seeing NEO cash and cash equivalent being sold down or dropping quite a lot this quarter or these coming earnings, but I think we'll be surprised, man. NEO sold 57,373 vehicles in Q2, and therefore that should mean the kind of revenues they generated from just selling cars should be way more than the revenues that we've been seeing coming from NEO, and that it's going to hit investors with surprise, which will result, or which might result in the sentiment around NEO to be boosted. So what I'm thinking NEO is doing at the moment is they're doing this intentionally, maybe to at least give a boost into the share price of NEO. Gross margins are going to improve or have improved. In fact, analysts are seeing an 8% gross margins for this quarter, with vehicle margins sitting at 11.2%, which we'll just see. But I think also there we should brace ourselves for what's coming. Otherwise, I just thought I'd just give you this quick updates. Tell me what you think about these analysis which I just told you of battery swapping stations. I mean, when I saw this and sat down, battery swapping station cost NEO a lot of money, and you will know that with Europe it's even worse, because the kind of amount the NEO spends deploying battery swapping station in China is nothing compared to the kind of money they spend when they are deploying the very same battery swapping station in Europe. Europe prices for deploying battery swapping station are up, which therefore shows you or tell us that the R&Ds for NEO in Q2 becoming ridiculously low, because they've not been aggressive as what we saw last year from July, right? Otherwise, with all that, tell me what you think. Do your own DD before you buy NEO for the very first time, as this stock is quite volatile, and therefore it requires you to have done some due diligence so that at least you are comfortable as you are investing onto this stock. Otherwise, that's all from me, and God bless you all.